So today is February 3rd, and I feel like we just started 2026, but apparently it's already the second month of the year, which is crazy. If it's your first time here, hi, my name is Kara. This is my channel, Kara on Paper. And if it's not your first time here, it's so nice to see you. Let's have a little chat. I will be starting my second draft of Seaside Princess, my fantasy book. I'll be starting it February 9th. So this is my last week of pre-revisions, if you will. I was like, you know what? Let's pick up the camera and talk about some other things that I've been doing while I'm preparing before next week, which is super exciting. The story has really been on my mind and I can't wait to get back into it. So, some of the things I want to talk about real quick is one, I got some new books from the library. I got two new books. I got um The Girl on the Train and Lessons in Chemistry, two really popular books. I actually got these for a total of $1 because each was 50 cents, but I'm super excited to read them actually. I've heard a lot about Lessons in Chemistry, and The Girl on the Train is supposed to be a thriller. I know it has a movie now, but I've been super interested in it because I haven't read a lot of thrillers. The last thriller I think I read was The Chemist by Stephanie Myers. I have no idea why I keep going out of focus. I hate that. But yeah, the last I read was The Chemist by Stephanie Meyer, and I really enjoyed it. It actually blows my mind that she also wrote Twilight. Did I need to get any books? No. Do I care? No. I also wanted to share my current reads with you guys. So, on my Kobo, I finished The Cruel Prince recently too by Holly Black. So, I'm reading The Wicked King, which is the second book. It's so funny. It's been on my to read list like for so long, but until one of the YouTubers I watched made a Substack for it, and she was just like imitating the writing styles, I didn't want to read it for some reason. So I finally was like, wait, it's my time to read it. And then I finished it in 3 days. Go figure. So I'm going to link her video, by the way. She's super cool, Caitlin. So she did a video for the Substack. So you should totally check her out. So these are, this is what I'm reading physically, which is crazy. Holding it like this is actually ridiculous. So I recently finished Dance of Thieves. And so I'm reading the second book. Wow, I almost stabbed myself in the face. I'm reading the second book, Vow of Thieves, which is really good. It's just, I felt like the first book started out a little bit slow. So maybe I'm feeling that way about this, but since the relationship's already established here, I think it's a little bit easier to get through. So yeah, so I'm currently reading that one. I also finally started the epic Beloved by Toni Morrison. This is not a comp per se, but this is just to help me with At the Crowing that I talked about in my last video. And then Vow of Thieves, I feel like since it's a fantasy realm and I really like her world building is Mary E. Pearson's is so rich. Also, though, this is a duology after her first three books. Like it was a trilogy and this duology comes from that, so I get it, but you can tell it's a really rich world. I love it so much. It definitely has inspired me for writing my Seaside Princess. I'm also reading A Thousand Heartbeats by the Queen, Kiera Cass. She's the one who wrote The Selection. I have been so excited to read this. Like I've had it for a year, I think, but unfortunately, I'm not really liking it so far. So the chapters are actually really short, which is nice, but I don't know, the story's not like captivating me right now, so I am struggling with it a little bit. I also picked up a while ago actually, um selected poems of Langston Hughes, and I've actually never had like a poem book before that I've read through. So I picked this up so that I could get some inspo for At the Crowing because I was kind of supposed to write some things for At the Crowing. Um, but I only wrote like the first lines, which I did share on I think I shared it on my Instagram stories, but that's about all I did for At the Crowing just because it's such like a deep story and I feel like my brain didn't really want to do the transition quite yet. I'm so excited for Seaside Princess that it's a little bit difficult to jump into At the Crowing. And I know that I want a different writing style for it. So that's why it's a little bit hard for me to get into the brain space for it. So, besides sharing the current reads that I'm doing right now, I also want to talk about kind of how I'm prepping during this like countdown before starting Seaside Princess again, which I'm super excited for. Obviously, I've been forcing myself to read as much as possible to get more inspiration to keep my brain active. I also am going to make a new mood board, which I'm super excited for. You guys have seen the old mood board plenty of times. I will put an image of it again, but I think the new storyline deserves a new mood board. So while I've been on this break, on this hiatus, I've been thinking a lot about how the story is changing. And so because of that, I'm like, you know what? It might be time to get a different mood board. And maybe if the story like continues to change, I should do a different mood board every draft, which is crazy, but really, really fun. So we're going to make a mood board together. I've actually never done it where I've done a mood board while filming myself because my creative process for visual arts, visual things is super, super messy, super complicated. Like any post that you see on my Instagram is super, like, it takes me forever to do all of them because I really go in depth and I have like tons of drafts, different versions. So it takes me forever to get through and like make it the way that I want. But I figured it'd be really cool if you guys came along as um I made the new mood board. So we'll try it out. I'll also show you my Pinterest, which I'm super excited for. The Pinterest I have is fat. She is a thickie. Like she's got sections, like she's got so many sections. So yeah, those are kind of the things I wanted to share with you guys. We're gonna make the mood board in a second. Voiceover Kara here. So in this clip, I was having a video call with Hannah Grace Fletcher, and we actually have writing sprints every Tuesday night, and they're honestly my saving grace. I love her so much. Make sure you follow her. But this was actually my first time getting into draft one and going through and reading it completely. And it was honestly really fun. The book actually turned out better than I thought it would be. I thought I was going to be reading like illegible plot lines, things that just did not make sense, but it wasn't as horrific, which means, we have to be gracious with ourselves. But I also felt a little intimidated getting into it and just like not knowing where to start. So actually, I messaged Becca Tobar on Instagram. I love her videos. You should also follow her. And I was like, hey, I know you've been going through like revisions and stuff. How did you do it? What would you recommend? And she was so sweet. And she sent me like actual videos talking through her draft, which I was really grateful for. And they really did help me and helped me feel like this process was a little bit more approachable. So after watching that, I went through and started going ham on my draft. And it was actually kind of fun just highlighting and seeing the things that I wrote so early on and then seeing what was good and what I could fix for later. Hey guys, so I actually already filmed a clip for this, but I didn't like it, so we're re recording it as a voiceover. So you're getting little snippets of my mood board right now, and I absolutely adore my mood board. There's just so much going on in there, and I've had it since the first draft. And as time has passed, I've really enjoyed adding more things to it. So I don't think there's spoilers in there. I guess don't look too closely. But honestly, I know some people for their mood boards, they're very specific with everything and they only choose things that will actually happen in the book. But for me, because I'm such an atmospheric writer and I love descriptions, I go ham. I literally add whatever I think could even be slightly close to it. I just like everything that could match the vibe, things that really interest me in new ways, things that challenge descriptions, like really weird looking things that I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm not super sure how to add this, but I think it would be really cool to incorporate. So here you just see me looking through my board and picking things that I think are going to match for the second draft. And also, there's this site called Find Vintage Art, and I really love it because it's real art, okay? In the face of crazy AI, it's really fun to go through this site. So I definitely recommend it. And it just has like all these prints that are made by real artists from older, different times. And because I have so many interesting creatures in my novel, I really enjoy looking through this and seeing what can I find that really inspires me. Most of the animals that I have, most of the creatures are just from fantasy. Like I made them up myself, but I love seeing what weird creatures already exist that I can incorporate. And I love the way the drawings are and how detailed they are. So they truly inspired a lot of what I'm writing about. Like, look at this bearded anglerfish. It looks so weird, but it really inspired some of the creatures that I wrote about. Also, there's a lot of flowers in this, so you'll see me go through and kind of pick and choose what kind of flowers match. There's a lot of statues too, but there's also a greenhouse, and you will see me add a bunch of photos that kind of depict not only the greenhouse that's at the castle on the castle grounds, but also throughout the world. They have a lot of different flora and foliage. So I try my best to sprinkle those in wherever I can. I'm also looking for some things that kind of fit the vibe of the male lead, Shiloh. There's not a lot to go in there, but I'm trying to see what could fit. And then also, fashion is kind of involved in this. So I try to sprinkle it in where I can. I'm going to be honest, I'm not the best at writing fashion. Like, I just forget about things that they're wearing. So I tried to be better about it in this draft. So that's why I'm looking and incorporating it from my Pinterest board onto the mood board so I can look at it and remember, hey, include these elements of fashion. This book is actually a childhood friends to lovers, and also you get a lot of flashbacks from the main character's childhood with her grandfather and her sister. So it was kind of important for me to include little snippets of children just enjoying their day to day life on like an island so I could kind of emulate that vibe. The story does take place on an island kingdom. So all the photos, I tried to give the vibe of children just having the time of their lives and just living such a wonderful childhood next to the water and the trees. And I really just love the way these images really emulate that vibe of just enjoying your childhood in the water, under the trees, and eating whatever fruits you can find. It looks so peaceful and carefree. And I wanted to really give that vibe, really cultivate that energy when I was writing the flashback scenes. So that's why I included some of these cute little photos. So now I'm rearranging all the photos to make sure I have space for everything. This is honestly my least favorite part. I do like picking photos, but because, like I said at the beginning of this video, I kind of take everything and throw it at the wall and see what sticks. So I end up adding way too many photos, and it just keeps going and keeps going, and I get like super overwhelmed with the amount of photos I've added, and now I'm trying to like make space for them all. But it is kind of like a fun little game and figuring out where each thing could go, what each thing could mean, how some photos can be transparent and some can just peek out a little. So it's a very interesting back and forth trying to figure it out and play around like a little puzzle piece. So from here, you can kind of tell that this mood board is very different than the one before it. And it's because the one before was very structured, very clear cut. This photo goes here. I want to see everything properly. But it was also for draft one. And in draft one, I'm still trying to figure out what the story is about. I'm telling myself the story, which is a very great example that people like to use a lot. And it's true. You don't really know where the story is going yet, so, creating a new mood board was my way of rediscovering what this new version of the story will look like. And it has so much more going on because the story is going to become more nuanced. It's going to have more depth, which is something I'm so interested in incorporating. Here you see so many images, you see so much like going on, so many things stacking on top of each other, and I just love that messy collage type vibe. And I really would like to keep making mood boards that look like this. Now, the only downside is it is very annoying to create this. Like, it is so irritating having to figure out where everything goes, and it takes so long. It's so time consuming. But when you're done, you're like absolutely obsessed. Like, when you see this at the end, I was obsessed with it, and I hope you guys really love it as much as I do. And here's a finished product. So like I said before, am obsessed with it. I love all the little intricate details. You can see like the creatures up front and some shells. I love the hairstyles. I incorporated a little bit of the fashion and the children on the side. It really shows a lot of the story in one place. Like, you can see aspects of sisterhood, the children exploring things, but then you can also see the creatures in there. I have some quotes. I have one of the quotes that says, "Everything was screaming, the sea, the wind, my heart," from Life of Pi. There's also a quote that you cannot see as well. It says, "Do not mock a pain you haven't endured." And it was actually really hard to find quotes for this project, but I feel like that quote is fairly good because my main character is very perfectionist coded, and she does have female rage, a bit of female rage by the end. And so, like, the male lead doesn't completely understand her because they grew up together as children, but they're different people now as adults. And so I feel like this kind of covers her a little bit, who she's become. But yeah, generally speaking, I love how colorful this looks. You can tell the color scheme is very green, very tropical, some orange, pinks, blues. I love the different kinds of greens. I think that this is like super, super fun, and I'm actually super happy with how it turned out.